James, what's going on? Excited to have you. We've got the most exciting time outside of the beginning of the hockey season going down with the draft this weekend, as well as development camps coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's draft week and exciting time for the kids in the NHL draft right now. We actually just did a day in the life video with Colin Potter, who's projected to go in the first round. So, he shared a lot of excitement heading into this week and a lot of hard work that's come into this point of his life and all these kids' lives. So, it's a big time for everyone, including these NHL teams that are taking a waiver on the kids of the future right now. So, I'm excited to see what the Bruins do, what my Minnesota Wild do, but especially covering college hockey, where all these kids go. They work, like I said, so hard in college hockey, and it's been fun to see them develop over the years, whether it's in the USHL or in Canada or wherever, but now being in college hockey and see some of these kids get a chance, it's been cool to see it.
Yeah, college hockey's finally starting to gain some love. Go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, dude, I have a hockey question for you. Thanks for being on the show. But really quick, how long were you waiting in the background for my move-in story? Because I thought I was killing time. So I hope I didn't keep you. Did you hear the whole thing? Because I apologize.
Yeah, I heard the whole
that's
thing.
the
It was a great story. No.
Okay. I didn't know you were ready to go. So I'm sorry. I'm just like chit-chatting. You're ready to go. A bit of confusion on our end. So my bad. But let's transition to Bruins and their needs. I know that that's not what you're focusing on. And I know that, like I said, you said you're Minnesota Wild. That's probably not your number one thing, but in terms of what they need and what they've been drafting for a while, a couple years back, it was kind of bigger defensemen, and they were looking for that, and offensive defensemen and guys that can hit and be physical in the postseason. And now the need is a center, and they've drafted a couple of centers. Still to see TBD how that pans out for the Boston Bruins. But where do you feel like, or who do you feel like could be a good fit for this team in the upcoming draft?
I said I have some connects in Boston. I think everyone wants Hagens to be available for them. I know Sweeney mentioned maybe not being able to trade up to get him. If he goes in top 5, I think Hagens does land in the top 5 for me. I'd take him as early as possible. Getting to watch him at BC develop. I think he's 3rd in points this year, just behind Ryan Leonard and Gabe Perreault. So maybe a little bit of a slow start. His draft, he dropped a little bit in the draft rankings, but I think you take him as early as you can. And great hands, great speed through the neutral zone. Like, that's great kid as well, and that's important in the locker room. Very mature for how young he is at 18. So that's a guy I'd land if I'm the Bruins, find any way to get him. But yeah.
I definitely think that everybody would lose it if we had an opportunity to grab him. We've talked a lot about young guys kind of getting a taller task on their shoulders with the way that the NHL is moving these days. There was like a little north of 123 NHL debuts, injuries included, because we know how that tends to move about. But I feel like these guys are pushing to be as NHL ready as possible now more than ever. Where do you think James falls in line with that, potentially being NHL ready? Because he had a couple buddies that had big moments over the past couple of months.
Yeah, I think for him, seeing Will Smith go to San Jose and do what he did there, with Celebrini too, they're all connected out in the Boston area. Definitely impressive. I don't think, however, it hurts to mature and stay in college for a sophomore, junior season. And I think we've seen over the past few years college hockey really growing, and these guys take the next step from college hockey straight into the NHL and succeed right away. And I think, I don't think it hurt him to stay longer, but I think he is fast enough and smart enough and good enough to play in the NHL after one more season at BC. I think, he's just going to progress even more next year with all the talent that Greg Brown keeps bringing into Boston College, and just to play in the Hockey East too. Now we have the CHL coming down. Such a competitive conference, as we saw last year. I think it was 7 teams from the Hockey East made the NCAA tournament. So great spot to develop as a young player. And I expect, I think more and more teams, NHL teams, to take chances on these NCAA guys. So yeah, I want him to stay longer and just keep developing his game, because he's solid right now. I don't think there's any rush to the NHL. So.
What's your read on Dean Letourneau? A lot of hype around him, and then there's been this drop off. I just think people need to chill, give the guy a chance. He's going to be in a development camp coming up at the end of June, beginning of July for the Bruins. But what's your read on him? Obviously, his height a big factor, and maybe his development timeline or curve.
Yeah, I think people have been a little hard on him last year. Tough to play a lot on that BC roster last year too, but I think he got a little bit of a chance in the beam pod, getting some first line time too. And like you said, his size, he's obviously got the NHL body. Trying to figure out how to use his size. I think he's going to be a threat. And just, again, giving him time, giving these kids time to develop. They're so young. When you're playing in a tough conference like the Hockey East, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But we've seen guys this size succeed in the NHL, obviously, and it's always nice to have that big guy. So I think he's going to keep getting his chance, and expect him to get a little more time under Greg Brown this year at BC. So I'm excited to see him keep developing. I think he's a solid player, great kid.
We got a player not catching so much heat, but definitely a lot of hype, Minnesota native Will Zellers, and we're looking forward to what he's going to bring to the Bees potentially in development camp. What can you tell us about him? Also, what part of Minnesota are you from? I forgot to ask.
Bloomington, Minnesota. So he's
Okay.
a Maple Grove kid, I believe, yeah.
Gotcha.
But, Zellers, hell of a player. Anytime you can score 44 goals, and in my opinion, the best development league in the world in the USHL, it's stands alone. Like he was, I think he had like 15 more goals than anyone else in the USHL or up there. I mean, he really showed his stride and how good he can be, and we'll see what he does here at North Dakota this upcoming season. I mean, his playmaking ability is unbelievable. So great shot, speed, and hands. I think if I'm a defender, I'm scared, and he's going to attack you. So you got to have your head on a swivel for that kid, and he's shown what he can do at Green Bay this past season, USHL, and I think North Dakota, he's going to get tested, at an NCHC, very tough conference as well. So he'll have some talent in there. I know North Dakota fans should be really excited. They will be excited to see him and watch him every Friday and Saturday in Nodak. So the sky's the limit for this guy, and very high ceiling. I think Bruins fans should be really excited about this kid. Great trade.
There's so much information now, obviously with the internet. You can look anything up, and goals and stats only say part of the story. When you're looking at players, what are you looking at, and what are you looking for outside of statistics?
Yeah, I just think who they are as a person. I know for my company and everything, college hockey, I like to do my research on the guys that we bring on our podcast, Pucks in Deep, or just guys that we do day in the life videos with. But we always like to work with great people, and I've got to meet so many through the game. From Boston's very own Matt Boldy, one of my favorite kids. Like, it goes a long way with the coaches. It goes a long way in the locker room. So, and just maturity. Like the video I just did with Colin Potter, such a mature kid, and he's already a pro. And he was 17 this past season at ASU, then turned 18 in January. But just the kind of person he is, it speaks volumes. And then you see, what he's doing in the weight room, how, first at practice, last elite practice, like that's what you're looking for, I think, as a coach. And a lot of these kids have that, and they've worked so hard to get to this point. So, but yeah, you need to be personable and have a good work ethic, and a lot of these guys do. So I think that's what coaches are looking for, and guys that are coachable too. That's always, what coaches look for when their young players are coming through.
Absolutely.
I'll let Kasey, I'll let you ask the last question, but just a quick comment on that. Just how the preparation in college hockey, like the dressing rooms, the equipment rooms, like how they've changed over the years is absolutely wild when you're going to visit some of these colleges. Just as good as the NHL, like the equipment, prep, meals, all that kind of stuff. So just wanted to throw that in there. But Kasey, go ahead with the last question here.
No, the developments have been pretty sick. I actually just want to know what one of your favorite interviews have been. You had one of my favorites on, Johnny Laz. That's how I found everything college hockey. And you talk about character and stuff like that, and I think that's becoming even more crucial because you're looking at young guys that have the potential to be leaders earlier in their career. So anyone that jumps off the page, I know you can't single anyone out without making anyone feel bad, but after so much cool work, there has to be someone that jumps off.
There's a lot. I don't want to just list one name. I mentioned Boldy. It was one of them. One early on that kind of got me going was Bruins goaltender Jeremy Swayman. That was really cool for me, and what he did at Maine. And I know they got Boya coming now for Dev Camp from Maine as well. Just goalie factory out at Maine. But so many good kids. Celebrini, most humble kid. I remember we did the video with him last year, and we knew he was going number one. But I remember meeting him in the locker room. Just a normal kid, so humble, and then you see his work ethic, and I was just blown away. I thought he could have been in the NHL 2 seasons ago. He's that good. So, I love there's so many good people in hockey, and I think these coaches, like we just mentioned, are really looking out for kids like this. Obviously, the talent speaks for itself, but if you can be a good person off the ice, it goes a long way and builds our hockey community. So.
Two guys giving the world what they want, some great content.
Yeah.
Swayman's got some great one-liners, and Celebrini and Smith out west. I feel like we just need to find a way to get them back on the East Coast so that they can do the tandem two of everything out here. James, thank you so much for your time and taking the time to join us, give us your insight, give Bruins fans hope for some of these guys that are going to be coming down the pipeline through development camp, but more importantly, check out everything college hockey.